So if you're an Oklahoma fan like myself, you really sit here and you watch recruiting and you're seeing kind of what's going on with Oklahoma and how they're assessing talent, who they're offering, who they're backing off of, and you kind of wonder what's going on with the recruiting strategy. And most notably in the wide receiver room, you've heard a lot of talk of maybe Oklahoma and Mason James are cooling off, kind of like what you heard with Caden Jones in Oklahoma. But then you saw Oklahoma start to throw some offers out, and maybe things started to make a little bit more sense. So I want to talk about one of Oklahoma's most recent offers today, why it makes sense for Oklahoma, and what Oklahoma fans could potentially expect up in the coming future, especially over the next couple of months, because I don't think Oklahoma is done yet making late evaluations and late offers trying to swing for the fences for NFL caliber talent. And I think that's where we hadn't have to start the conversation today. Because when Jim Naggie came to Oklahoma, I think a lot of people looked at what he might be able to do in the transfer portal. But definitely on the recruiting trail, I think you're going to see Oklahoma's strategy change a little bit because they're going to look at some of the guys that they've currently offered, and they're going to maybe say that's not an NFL caliber dude. Might be a great college player, but Jim Nagy might not believe in the NFL aspects. And so you might see them say, hey, we need to move off. We're going to look at this guy. I believe he has better NFL caliber traits, and we're going to go that direction. And you might see Oklahoma do that a little bit more. And I'm not saying that's what happened with Mason James, but it does feel like Oklahoma's cooling there. And recently, you've started to hear rumors of things maybe picking up with a guy like Zachary Turner down there in Dallas, Texas. But most notably, you saw the offer go out for a guy like Dallas Dickerson. And this was an intriguing one to me because he's not a direct replacement for what Mason James was. He's bigger, and he runs a 4.4. He runs a 4.42 100. So he's got the speed. And when you go and you watch his film, he's a guy that obviously is able to utilize his height to go up there and grab 50-50 balls, or because of his speed, be able to come back to the ball and be able to make those catches, which I'll pull up the film here in just a second, and you guys will be able to see that. But Dallas Dickerson is an interesting prospect. Coming in at 6'1", 180 pounds, out of Bogart, Georgia, has a total of 21 offers. 21 offers. And some of his offers have recently came after Oklahoma offered him. So this is another thing that, as an Oklahoma fan, I'm extremely interested to watch here. With Jim Naggie potentially making evaluations on the recruiting trail, what does it look like for other schools offering guys that Oklahoma offers? Because we know that everybody, or most everybody, really respects Jim Naggie. When Jim Naggie says a dude is really good, you usually see other people follow the lead and kind of what he's saying. So over the next couple of years, what does an offer from Oklahoma actually mean? Right? Because it could open up the floodgates. For Dallas Dickerson, you saw Florida jump on board right after. Georgia Tech. I think you've seen an offer from Duke. There might be somebody else that has thrown in an offer too that I'm completely forgetting. And I'm not saying he was going to get those offers if Oklahoma didn't offer him, but it's just convenient that they come right after Oklahoma offered Dallas Dickerson. But Dallas is an extreme talent that you get him here with a guy like, I don't know if John Mateer is on this team next year or if he goes to the draft, but definitely a Michael Hawkins or any one of the two quarterbacks in Bo Bentley or Jaden O'Neal that they're going to bring in at 26, because it's going to be one of those two guys. Hopefully not in nobody, but potentially one of those two guys. Dallas Dickerson could be an absolute deep field threat for Oklahoma, and he's an underrated target. And that's really what it is, coming out of the state of Georgia. And you want to see Oklahoma land more guys out of the state of Georgia as well. So interesting prospect there. Oklahoma fans, keep your eyes peeled. But this is kind of where I think preparing you as a fan for what you could potentially see down the road in Oklahoma doing. Right now, they've only got 4 guys currently committed in this class. And I do think June's going to be a huge month because Oklahoma's going to have a lot of official visitors. And I believe Jim Naggie will help Oklahoma kind of really sit down and finish the deal with some of these targets. I do look at it though, and I say maybe down the road and in the future for recruiting for Oklahoma, they don't have as many commits early like they previously had. Maybe they want to make offers later in the cycle as they get guys into their senior season and are able to evaluate more guys. We know Jim Naggie is a film guru, loves watching film, but it's going to be interesting to see how this changes the Oklahoma Sooners outlook on the recruiting trail. Additionally, how many guys are they actually going to take? Are there going to be positions like wide receiver or offensive line where they might take younger guys out of the portal with multiple years of eligibility, but guys that have been in the college system, guys that are a little bit easier to evaluate at the next level, right? I think this is going to be curious because I do think this is a real conversation. And how big of a conversation, like how big is this going to be? I don't know. But I do think there is going to be this aspect of you might see Oklahoma's recruiting strategy change a little bit. But when Oklahoma made the offer to Dallas Dickerson, I definitely, was like, this is a fantastic offer. Emmett Jones can definitely go out there and land a guy like this. He would be perfect in Oklahoma's system. Speedy guy, a guy that can go up and use his frame to grab those 50-50 balls. That's what Oklahoma needs. Now, you do look at some of the other guys, and obviously Davian Gross is still on the table and a guy that I think Oklahoma would 100% take if he wants to jump on board because Davian Gross, I think, translates to the NFL really well. And again, you look at him kind of like a Deebo Samuel type of player. Additionally, I look at guys like a Zachary Turner, who, although he's listed as a tight end, he probably plays more wide receiver at 6'2". He doesn't have the body for a tight end unless he just wants to go through some giant growth spurt over the next 6 months. Now, that is to say Oklahoma still needs to go out there and get another tight end. So although Zachary Turner is listed as a tight end, Oklahoma needs to go out there and get another guy. You got Ryder Mix committed in this class, but go out there and get you an Ian Premer or somebody like that. Go make a late push. And it's possible because as this season comes up for Oklahoma, if Oklahoma wins games, they show that the offense has improved. No doubt in my mind, Oklahoma is going to be able to go out there and be able to flip some guys. So I want to hear from y'all because I think this is an interesting topic, and I think everybody's going to have a different opinion here, but just kind of evaluating things and seeing kind of what's going on, especially in other position groups. I think Oklahoma's strategy is definitely evolving. It's definitely changing, and it's something we really might not know what it's going to look like until next season. So jump in the comments below, join the discussion. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys have not already and you've made it this far, hit that like and hit that subscribe button. Would love to have you guys be a part of the community here.